That was really fast. Might have messed up. See,
What?
it's because you don't have me in studio anymore. Jesus Christ, why would you? Damn it. I can't switch it. There you go. That was really annoying. And we're back. Welcome. We will be back. Welcome back to OTAKO Tuesday, and everybody's favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
OTAKO. OTAKO Tuesday. OTAKO. OTAKO. We will be talking about arguably the greatest anime of all time. At least it's in the conversation. It's in the debate. So let's get into it. Oh, by the way, it's Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop, and we will be doing the song after the intro. So, welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Back. So 3, 2, 1. I fucked up the fingers. 3, 2, 1. Last jam. I was like 3, 2. Like no. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
What are you doing?
Okay. I don't know what you're doing.
I was doing the bass because you were doing the saxophone.
Okay. Fine. 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
What
I know this is annoying you, isn't it? I know I just keep fucking it up. Listen, dude. You just heard you were just watching the series. You have it top of mind. I just remember kind of how it goes.
I know. So why would you be the one to propose? Oh yeah, let's do the theme song.
I kind of expected you to do it.
But I was trying.
Well, you didn't take the lead, so you know.
Well, I'm gonna do the best part.
F you. Anyway, yeah. So before we get into Cowboy Bebop, let me just give a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World, streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. Aiming for 8ish. I think today was fine. We did 8. We're trying to do a Taco Tuesday a little bit earlier, but you know.
As long as it's Tuesday.
Exactly. As long as it's Tuesday, we're good. And as long as it's Tuesday on the West Coast of the United States. So there you go. Eric, where can they find you?
You can find me over at Dicky Senpai on twitch.tv and Instagram. Those are my 2 active accounts at the moment. Yeah,
and Saturdays we do a live stream of Pokemon. This Saturday was kind of rough. It was
a little dramatic. More, not gonna lie.
It was brutal. We got the vaccine on Friday, the second round, and it kind of kicked my fucking ass. It was brutal. It sucked. I can describe it as, imagine feeling really hungover and having a head cold at the same time. And it started hitting us. Well, it started hitting me more and more as we were trying to do the stream. So I guess Eric will edit those and load them this week at some point. You will see how we suffer. Our dog almost gets out of runs away from the house because somebody opened up the garage. It was a whole thing.
It was a silly lady.
Yes, it was dramatic, you know? So there you go. In case you cared. Anyway, let's get into this. Like I said, how would you describe the show? So Cowboy Bebop is a space western. Is that fair?
A spaghetti space?
Yeah, a spaghetti western in space. So it's a story about a group of bounty hunters in space. Fair?
Fair.
All right. Overarching story for this show? Not really. There's really no. It's the adventures of the Bebop.
There is, but if you're trying to watch the show with the idea of every episode advances the overall plot, then you're not gonna enjoy it because it's a very much a week to week.
Yeah, it's a week-to-week adventure of the week. And I've always described, I know that a lot of my audience, you watched Firefly. Firefly got a lot of their inspiration from Cowboy Bebop. And I mean a lot of stuff from Cowboy Bebop, which starting from how the visions of how the future is going to be. Actually, there's a lot of stuff that got a lot of inspiration from Cowboy Bebop. Would you agree?
Yeah, which Cowboy Bebop got a lot of inspiration from the old school Western movies and like the Sergio Leone films and old noir.
No, but I mean like visions of the future. For example, there's a lot of Blade Runner. I don't know if you watched Blade Runner.
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so it's film noir, sci-fi film noir. So there's Cowboy Bebop got a little bit from there, and actually
Got a lot from Star Wars too,
yeah, but
especially with the space battles.
yes, and actually, fun fact: the director of Cowboy Bebop, he directed a short for preparing for the sequel of Blade Runner. It's actually pretty good, and the last I heard, I might have to double check this, but apparently he will be. There's a Blade Runner anime coming up, and I think it's going to be created by the guy from Cowboy Bebop. So it's interesting stuff. Like honestly, it's sci-fi. I don't feel it's exploited as much in anime in the Western culture. Would you agree?
Not as much.
Like I feel like
because sci-fi people tend to just think of it as mecha anime.
Yeah,
that's not as popular over here.
I think over here they think more when you think of cartoons and stuff. They go more towards fantasy. They don't really exploit like sci-fi.
Yeah, I think so. What other? Well, I mean, Ghost in the Shell.
But that's not a Western thing.
You mean in animation in the West?
Yeah. Think about like the biggest animated shows of the West. Like
I think of superhero stuff. So
and that's fantasy.
Is that fantasy?
Depends on the superhero, but it's usually fantasy.
I usually see superhero as kind of like a mixture of fantasy and sci-fi, and it's its own genre.
Yeah, true. Anyway, the point is, Cowboy Bebop has inspired a lot of works over the years. When did this come out? Is it 80s, 90s?
98.
98.
97, 98.
Yeah, and it's inspired, and you can actually tell if you watch Cowboy Bebop and then you watch other works. And I don't mean just in anime. Like I said, Firefly is the perfect example. The way that people see the future and how it's going to go, the colonization of space and stuff like that. You see a little bit, there's an homage to it. And particularly, like I said, Blade Runner, the 2024, you see a lot. 2048? 2034? I don't know, the Blade Runner sequel. The Blade Runner sequel. You see a lot of it there. And so, I'm a fan.
Which is ironic because that would be a prequel to Bebop because Bebop is in 71.
Right?
2071.
Okay. So we want to do something different today. We've noticed that whenever we talk about an anime, we just end up giving you like a summary of the show. And honestly, I don't want to do that anymore because we're just going to end up... There's a point, let's say we start talking Dragon Ball Z, and we're just going to be here all day talking about the plot, We're just going to go through the whole fucking story. So let's just talk about favorite things of the show.
The most interesting stuff.
Yeah, the most interesting stuff. But first off, we need to introduce the characters, right? So the crew of the Bebop is 5 main characters, and
It's 4.
Well, it's the dog counts.
I guess.
Is the dog a character?
A little bit.
Listen, the dog is more relevant in Cowboy Bebop than Baby Yoda is. Like he has more personality.
I mean, he might be more relevant than Ed.
Yeah. All right, so let's begin with the main character. Do you have an image here of the characters?
Yeah.
I don't even know. What am I? All right, so the main character here. I mean, you could debate who the main character is, but I don't think you can debate it.
The show was the first thing that was created for the show by I don't remember his name is
the creator
Watanabe.
Mm-hmm. Is it Ken Watanabe?
Maybe no.
Ken is the actor. No, I'm kidding. That's the actor.
I knew it sounded familiar. I think it's Morichi Watanabe.
Mm-hmm.
Was the character of Spike Spiegel. That was the first thing he came up with for the show.
If you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of the coolest characters ever, Spike Spiegel has to be there. Yes or no?
Oh, I told Dario, like, right as I was finishing the show, it's like, there's different ways of measuring or determining maturity, but I think true maturity is achieved once you realize that you will never be as cool as Spike Spiegel.
He's just
too cool. That dude is cool. He made smoking cool again. I want to smoke now.
He's the definition of cool. And so, you thought Han Solo was cool? Nah. No, but dude,
pisses on Han Solo.
Dude, Han Solo is like a fucking volcano next to how cool Spike Spiegel is. And for so many reasons, what's your favorite thing about Spike?
He's Goku, but not stupid.
Okay, I mean,
That's basically it.
I don't think you put it in any.
And so this show actually has a lot of inspiration from martial arts movies, and like the old school Bruce Lee stuff. And Spike Spiegel, he reminds me more of Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan in his movies, he always, every time he fights, he has some sort of disadvantage, because to him it's like wrestling.
Yeah.
You don't want the good guy to have an advantage over the bad guy. You want us to have sympathy for him. So it's like,
it makes it more exciting. Yeah.
it makes you root for the guy. So it's like every time that Spike Spiegel is fighting, he's like fighting multiple people at a time, so he's at a disadvantage. He just got shot, so he's at a disadvantage. A dog bit him or whatever. It's like, it's something that of an underdog.
Even though he's clearly superior.
He's a
90s animation, right? So it's every single thing is is it hand drawn?
It is hand drawn animation.
Every single shot.
It's
beautiful.
It pisses on modern digital animation.
Yes. Especially with this is what we're going to go with. The fighting scenes. The fighting animation is fantastic, and the epitome of this whole thing is our boy Spike Spiegel. The way that it makes him, there's something about, shows being made with love. Like, you had to really love the show if you're going to hand draw everything. And it shows. It's one of those things that's why I don't really like 3D animation that much in anime. It annoys me. It's like it's missing a lot of heart. And for as cold of a character that Spike is, they put a lot of heart into him. And every move is relevant. Every single time it's relevant. Every single bit of smoke that's coming out is relevant. So
yeah, almost every still that they have is like a wallpaper.
Yes,
waiting to happen. Just take a screenshot, put it on your computer. That's a wallpaper.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. So our boys, excellent protagonist, among, like I said, the coolest characters of all time of any genre, fictional characters. You know what, real or fictional.
I want to dress up as Spike on Halloween.
You need to let your hair grow a bit.
I don't know how to make that happen.
You go to a barber and just be like, "Hey, what do I need?" And they'll tell you.
I'll be like, "Hey, can you make me look cool?" And I'll look like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way you can look. And it's actually all you need is what, like a suit and a gun and the hair.
Yeah, and
cigarettes
and being cool.
Yeah, it's you gotta be really thin. You gotta be really, really thin.
But like oddly buff.
I mean, it's like it's the thin that's he can kick
skinny,
my ass.
He's skinny strong. He's UFC strong.
Exactly. There you go. And walk with it's weird because he walks with a confidence. But like his body posture is like
with like swagger. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
Chill dude.
It's like I could kick anybody's ass and I know it, but I don't really want them to know it. It's weird. It's interesting. Like I said, great protagonist. Next, we have the captain of the Bebop, whose name I don't remember.
His name is Jet Black.
Thank you, Jet Black, Captain Black. Didn't even call him Captain, right? Just call him Jet.
Yeah, Jet. They don't really.
Oh, I guess we should.
Oddly, by the end of the show, because obviously most of the show they're like having like little quarrels between the characters of the crew, and they're, I'm gonna leave because I got tired of you, and then they end up coming back, but they never really end up having like an official crew dynamic of this is your role. It's more like it does feel like a ragtag group of bounty hunters who just happen to get along and
live in the same ship. Which is the Bebop,
but the Bebop and like each other.
Yeah, the owner of the Bebop is our boy Jet Black. So Jet Black is the father figure, the mature one, the responsible one, and he's
the level-headed one.
Yeah,
the guy who makes plans, and
he has the robot arm, so he looks cool.
He's always the one getting the bounties. He's like
paying the bills.
Well, they try.
It's part of the charm of the Bebop.
Actually, most of the show, that's like the running gag. They never have any money, and they're always trying to get a bounty, but something goes wrong, and they don't end up getting any money. Hilarity ensues.
Which is kind of what they do in Firefly, except it's more drama, not hilarity like they do in Bebop.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, that's who we have here, Jet Black, the father figure. Then we have the femme fatale. Faye Valentine.
Oh, this week is also not going to have a debate on best girl because not a lot of them.
There's 3 options. One's really weird.
One would get the Mr. FBI into this place real quick.
Then there's 2 options, really.
Yeah.
And I don't think really
I'm
is
not
much of a
gonna
debate.
go-
No,
I'm
it's not a
gonna-
debate.
no,
It's not a
it's not
debate.
a debate.
Okay, so
It's
best
fair.
girl, Faye Valentine, the femme fatale.
Also, her name is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is a great name.
I love the last name Valentine.
It is a great name, isn't it?
It's awesome. Vincent Valentine, Jill Valentine, Faye Valentine,
Jill Valentine?
Funny Valentine.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine. It's great. Anyway, so she's the femme fatale.
Someone should make it like a holiday around it.
And for those of you who don't know, femme fatale is a term that comes from film noir, and basically it's the girl who you're not sure you can trust. It's like, should I help her? Should I not? She's deadly or is she not? Is she an ally? Is she an enemy? And her dynamic with Spike is particularly interesting. How would you describe Faye other than femme fatale?
Well, Faye in particular, all of the characters have this thing where their past is shrouded in mystery and they don't really talk about it to each other, but we see flashbacks. So all throughout the show, we see flashbacks to Spike's past.
Mm-hmm.
But Faye in particular is the one whose past is probably the most important to her character
Yes.
because she doesn't actually remember it.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
And so Faye is
So she has kind of like a crisis of identity. Let's say.
and she's to me she's like the loner survivor
Yeah,
who is trying to get along with a new group.
It's more the character who thinks that putting themselves out there and being vulnerable and allowing themselves to, be part of a group is a weakness and not a strength. So she'd rather just steal all their money and leave, which she does at least 3 times.
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what she brings to the table. Next, we have our tomboy femme girl. We have Ed.
Ed is Ed.
Ed is a girl.
It's a girl, yeah.
It's a girl. But okay. Is it a girl? Is it a teen? Is it? I never really understood where she stood.
She looks like she might be.
She looks like a tall, skinny boy. Like she's really tall for her to be called girl, unless everybody else is really short. And I don't think Spike's that short or Jet Black is that short.
So originally she was designed to be a boy,
Mm-hmm.
but the creators figured, or the writer figured, well, we already have 2 dudes in the Bebop, so let's just make it 2 chicks and 2 dudes.
Yeah.
And Ed only gets introduced until episode 9, which was, and well, that would be spoilers. But she leaves earlier than other characters.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's an odd character. It's definitely a character that was introduced to be comedy relief.
Mm-hmm.
But she does have her things. So she's a hacker, like the super mega hacker.
Very useful.
But also she's a complete wild card.
Yes. Definitely.
That's what it is.
Listen, in a team of wild cards, she's the wildest.
Yeah.
By far. And rounding out the team, do you have an image here?
No, not a dog.
Okay, rounding out the team, we have the dog right here.
It's a little corgi,
little corgi.
Little corgi bastard.
Nobody really knows what that dog is and why he's so valuable, but he is.
No, he is. They explain that.
Oh, really?
Well, he was rescued by them.
Don't do spoilers.
It's not a big spoiler.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, it's just he was. A company was like doing experiments on animals, and he was one of them.
There you go. So I don't know what the rest of these images are. So do you want to take it from here?
Well, then we have the villain of the show.
Okay, the big bad. And Eric actually told me something very interesting when he started watching the show, because he rewatched it this week, and he said that episode 5 is
So the show
when the villain is introduced.
Yeah, the one who could be considered the main villain of the series, but really he's the main villain of Spike's story.
Yes, and so his name is
really funny. His name is Vicious.
Yes, great name for a villain.
A little too out there. a little too.
I like it.
He might as well just be called Mr. Evil, Dr. Evil.
I don't know, but it's funny. It's like, hey, hey, sweetie, what's your boyfriend's name? Vicious? What?
I was hoping that was just his nickname.
Maybe
it's like
codename Vicious.
That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
But he lives up to his name. The guy's a total psycho.
Yep.
And he works for like this crime syndicate that's like one of the biggest ones in
crime.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the planet, but
no, this is a galaxy, bro.
Yeah. So the setting is interesting because humans have left planet Earth and they discovered basically the Mass Effect relays, which let them go anywhere they want.
Yep.
And they colonized other planets, which created a new Wild West, you could say, because new frontier, new crime and stuff. But then planet Earth sort of had this.
It became garbage.
It had this event. I don't remember what it was called, like the Crisis of the Gates, that made it so that constant meteor showers now fall on Earth, and now it's kind of a ruin. So it's kind of post-apocalyptic everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave rise to a bunch of different crime syndicates. And it seemed as if the crime syndicates were actually about to start civilizing a bit and start working together. And, well, this guy was not having any of that. So he decided, let's go with violence, because my name is Vicious. Vicious is not a diplomat.
Nope. Unfortunately.
Imagine having him in, like, the voting ballot.
I vote for Vicious. Nope. That's not how it's going to work.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And yeah, the first 4 episodes of Bebop is just an introduction to Spike, Jet, and Faye as
and
characters.
The dog.
Is the dog in the first 3?
I think the dog is in there before Jill. Before Faye.
Yes. No, before Faye?
I think so.
I think Faye is introduced, then she leaves for an episode, which is when the dog gets introduced, and then Faye comes back.
Sure.
I think. But the point is, the first 4 episodes is just character introductions, and there's not much going on. Episode 5, Ballad of the Fallen Angels.
Which is an amazing name.
That episode might be individually the best anime episode, period.
Which is saying something.
Like, and I don't generally pay attention to individual episodes. To me, it's just like I'm watching a show. It's a sequence of things. It's like,
however,
what happened in each episode, I don't remember. It just sort of
it's all part
together.
of the story.
This one feels like a short film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually every episode was designed to be that way.
Yeah.
And to have sort of like a short film style.
Yeah, every episode of Bebop is supposed to, stand on its own.
And
most of them.
Yeah, there's like part 2s for a few episodes. But I don't know. I mean, aside from the last 2 episodes, I think Ballad of Fallen Angels is in my top, like, individual anime episodes. And that's where shit gets real. That's where Vicious gets introduced. That's when we learn that Spike apparently has a very interesting past.
Very interesting past. Very colorful.
Yeah, and the whole show, I'm just like, give me more. Give me more. I want to know about this dude.
Which is the tragedy of Bebop. That it's great that each episode stand alone, but at the same time, it's like, why couldn't you just go more of that? Give us more of that. But then on the other hand, it's like, maybe less is more. That's why that episode and the final 2 episodes are so great, because they don't just ram it, just throw everything at your face.
Yeah, it's not like every episode where, our characters are having an adventure and then wondering what's going on with Vicious and the Syndicate and all that. It's like, not really. They don't get mentioned unless they are in the episode.
Yeah. So there's good things and there's bad things about it. And actually, I mentioned this to you earlier today. Cowboy Bebop, it's a hard episode. It's a hard show to binge watch because there's nothing keeping you there for the next episode. Except for very few episodes that actually have like part 1, part 2. There's nothing being like, ooh, what's going to happen in the next episode? Because it's going to be
not much of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's a standalone adventure for each one, so it's hard to binge watch. On the other hand, it's fun to be like, oh, now this week, what's going to happen next week? What's going to be this adventure?
And at any point, I would be willing to watch any episode.
Yeah, that's also an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to me personally, my favorite thing that came out of Bebop is, besides the style and all that stuff and the characters, it's the music. The music for Bebop is top tier music. Phenomenal. 2 thumbs way up. Amazing. See, I got to do it too. Ha, suck it.
You did it wrong, but that's...
All right, fine, you do it. It's because it's jazzy. It's which you don't think would work for anime.
I mean, it's jazzy, it's bluesy, it adds so much to the mood and the theme.
It's weird. It's a film noir spaghetti western sci-fi with jazz and blues.
So the composer of the music was Yoko Kanno, who is apparently the character of Ed.
By the way, Chuck Dominguez says you did it better. So, suck it.
Told you. Apparently the character of Ed was kind of based off of Yoko Kanno's personality. Cause she's just a little cuckoo.
Okay.
She's just a little different.
Hey, extremely talented people are usually a little off. Like,
she's so good.
Like I've said this a million times. Kanye West is a psychopath. He's insane, but he's probably a musical genius.
Makes pretty good songs.
He makes pretty good music. You can say whatever you want about his personality. The man can make music, and so I mean, genius usually goes hand in hand with cuckoo. Look at Michael Jackson. Look at Prince. There's usually a little bit of cuckoo in there, and I don't know why it leads to good music.
Just happens. But I don't know. You'll have Bebop is not specific. It's not particularly fast paced.
No,
like even within its episodes.
Oh, it's noirish, and noir is slow.
Yeah, and western. Like it has a lot of establishing shots and showing it. It has a lot of world building through just the cinematography alone. Like it shows you how everything is.
Character leaning on a corner, just smoking, thinking, meditating. Maybe an inner monologue. How did this happen?
Or like Spike is just sitting at a bar and there's just jazz music playing in the background or something. Or you're just seeing still frames, but then there's like a twangy bluesy guitar playing in the background, and it's just, this is aesthetic as fuck.
Actually, now that you mentioned it, yeah, it's all. Cowboy Bebop was made more like a movie, like a bunch of short movies. It's not really like a serialized show. The aesthetic shows. Visually it shows, and the sound shows, and the music shows. Like it was made with love. It's a show that was made with a buttload of love.
To me, if I was gonna compare it with a cartoon, like from the West, and this might be a weird comparison, I compare it a little bit to like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Which ones?
From 03.
The one that's Nickelodeon one, the dark one.
Yeah, the one that's serious.
Okay.
Because it's a show of the week. It doesn't really have an overarching plot, even though it kind of does. And it's very moody. It has obviously a lot of love put into the aesthetics and all, but it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh yeah, because the things that happen are wild.
Yeah,
I mean wild.
Like,
this is wild sci-fi shit.
This is one of those shows that I can just imagine, like back in those Saturday mornings, and like not at 9 a.m. you just sort of see the opening, and it's like, oh, this is my show for the next 30 minutes. Let's go.
So
let's see the adventures of the Bebop crew.
So it's
this
like
week.
It's like a serious adult Saturday morning cartoon.
It's very bloody.
Yeah, because the like I said, the sci-fi there is wild. It's just bonkers in a very great way. Because I mean, I just we were watching one episode and I was overhearing it, and there's an episode where they're talking about transferring your consciousness into computers, and that way you could live forever in like a computer heaven. And I was like, that I've heard that plot many times afterwards, and I forgot that that's kind of and they explored it in 20 minutes, and it's a very interesting concept, and they did it in Bebop.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't know if Bebop came up with a lot of these concepts, or it's just old sci-fi books that eventually start getting adapted, and they end up inspiring the next generations of
No, no,
sci-fi.
I don't think they did it first. But to me, I forgot that they actually went that deep into the sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, they deal with a lot of interesting themes of existentialism and
Yes.
all this delicious.
Ooh, yeah. The philosophy of the
very
show is
deep
very
philosophy.
interesting. And so, what would be your so me personally, like I said, my favorite thing of the show is the music. My least favorite thing is, I already mentioned it, that sometimes you want more of a particular story and it doesn't have that particular continuity. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's my least favorite thing. And so, what would be your favorite thing and least favorite thing of the show? And you can't say the music.
All right, so you stole my answer.
All right, fine.
Actually, no. So actually, I really love the soundtrack, but to me, a lot of those songs only work within the context of the show. Like, there'll be tracks that I listen to individually, and I'm like, the fuck is going on here? Like this ain't music. Like, this is just like a bunch of random noises. But then they put them, you see them in the context of the show, and it's like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know if she was making the music according to the scenes, like some artists do.
That's how you do it, yeah. The good ones.
No, like a lot of soundtracks is just like, hey, so this is like the general theme of the show. Make a soundtrack for it. And it's like, I think that's how they did it for Lord of the Rings. It's just, I doubt that's how she did it. But
because it looks too perfect.
It just fits too well. Maybe she's just crazy.
Maybe
she's just crazy and made it work.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, I don't want to call them stinkers in there, but a lot of songs that I wouldn't personally like want to listen to outside of the show.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, I always say to be a great story, you have to have great characters. Otherwise, it doesn't fucking matter. So to me, it is the relationship of the characters.
What's the next image, by the way? I don't even know.
Blonde lady.
Okay. So let's go back to the crew. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the relationship of the four main protagonists to one another. Specifically, Spike's relationship to each one of them. Because it's interesting. They all bring out a certain side of Spike. Mm-hmm. So every time he has an interaction with Jet, it's more like he brings out like that business, no nonsense bounty hunter side of him. Where he's like, yeah, let's go get some money.
Yeah.
And like, oh, look how poor we are. Oh, God damn it.
Are we eating without meat again?
Yeah. And Spike's relationship with Faye, it's interesting because Spike has a lot of problems with women.
Oh, whoa. Understatement alert.
And not
understatement alert.
He does not have a problem in terms of, getting women. It's more he has a lot of trauma in his
trust issues.
A lot of trust issues based on his backstory.
To be fair, justified.
And to be fair,
Faye is not trustworthy either.
Faye does not help. Faye does not help. So but she does bring out the more wild side of him. Like they're usually the two pilots that are flying their own individual
fighters?
ships.
Yeah.
So she brings out more of the fun,
competitive in a way.
Player kind of side to him, like the more swagger.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Ed kind of brings out like that sort of youthful, playful thing, playful side of his personality. Even though Ed is weird.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel. She doesn't feel weird with the rest of the crew.
It's a weird crew, and so she fits in there
somehow.
By the way, the chat's saying, I just hope that the action live action Cowboy Bebop is as good as the anime. It's not gonna happen.
I would not. Have my hopes up.
John Cho, for starters, is too old to play Spike. Second, he's not cool enough.
I don't know.
Third, I don't think he has the fighting skills.
I don't know if too old.
Dude's like almost in his 50s.
So the story of Spike kind of does require a little bit of an older character.
I'd say 30s, but not 40s, 50s.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
As
long as he fits the role of being, he has to be cool.
Is his name John Cho? I think he is.
I looked it up before the show. I don't know.
To me, when I heard the casting, I was like, dude, this guy's not cool enough to be Spike. Also, generally speaking, I'm not saying this is always the rule, but this is always what happens. But generally speaking, adapting anime to live action
Bad
does
idea.
not work. It
Bad
does
idea.
not work. It's worked on very, very few occasions. I remember you and I watched the movie that we were like, oh, that was actually probably...
Alita Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel is probably the best example that I've seen.
I'm having trouble thinking of another one.
You said the Death Note Japanese versions were okay.
Oh, the Death Note Japanese, yeah, they're arguably better than the anime.
Yeah. Other than that, off the top of my head, I can't think of a single live action anime that's been good or that I've enjoyed other than to make fun of. Because we saw the live action Attack on Titan, and I love making fun of it.
I love not having to pay to watch it.
It was a piece of shit.
If I had to pay to watch that, god damn.
We'll save it for another day because we could have a lot of fun with the live action Attack on Titan ones. And so historically speaking, it usually does not work.
It's because they tend to miss the point of what makes the show good.
Yes.
They just think to themselves, we're just gonna recreate famous scenes and like film stuff in a similar way.
Like,
put fan service in there.
I'll give you a few examples, and just so you can see of adapting a cartoon that didn't work and one that did. So one that's a good example of something that worked is the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first live action movie. It worked because it was dark. It was still funny, but it was at heart it was a darker action movie. It was at points it actually made you feel very afraid. It had a lot of consequences, and so it worked because of that. I mean, do you remember they tortured Splinter? Like it was kind of messed up.
It's like the original Batman.
Yeah,
like Batman. Sure, it's a silly superhero movie, but at its core, it has to be a little not scary but dark.
Yeah,
gritty.
And so the original creators, they got that when they did the second movie, which I still like it, but it's nothing compared to the first one. They just decided, let's just go cheesy with it. Let's just go make it funny and let's make it quick. An example of something that didn't work would be, and this is the perfect example,
Death Note,
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, you mean cartoons?
Yes, cartoons. Yeah. They basically just went through the most important plot points of the series, and it's four-season season?
They didn't even remember to use the correct name.
Dude,
three seasons.
3 seasons. And isn't it 4 books?
No, it's water, earth, and fire.
Anyway, and it's they just at one point I remember that they narrated through a whole storyline. They just said like, oh yeah, by the way, my brother started dating a moon goddess or something, and and we're here, and we skipped like a few months. Like, what the fuck? How about if you show us that? It didn't have any heart. They didn't understand the point of the story. In Attack on Titan,
it'd be like if on this episode of OTAKO Tuesday we just went like, so yeah, we watched Cowboy Bebop, and then we just left.
Yeah, it was good. Watch it. No, dude, on Attack on Titan, for those of you who watched it, you know that the primary motivation of the main character is that a Titan eats his mom. Kind of a big motivation. In the movie, he doesn't have a mom.
Thank God I didn't pay to watch that movie.
He doesn't have a mom, and so
it's hilarious because they replaced that storyline with Mikasa.
Yeah.
The only problem is Mikasa's not actually dead.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they killed Mikasa, and then Mikasa's there. It's like, so my whole motivation to kill Titans is gone? I don't know. It's weird.
We'll get to those.
By the way,
eventually.
Chuck, what you're saying, Netflix has done a good job at adapting anime into live action, but yeah, I agree. No. Case in point, Death Note. Death Note, the Netflix
and,
adaptation.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh God, no! That was both of those were painful to watch. So
I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist. I don't even know if it was made by Netflix or it was licensed by them, but I just look at the poster, man.
Yeah, and so the point here, by the way, the big difference between, let's say, the Death Note, the Full Metal Alchemist, all that stuff, the big difference is that the Cowboy Bebop is going to be a series. So you may have an opportunity there. So there's a little bit of hope. I just don't think it's going to be anywhere near as good as the original series. I hope it is its own different thing and it's good enough. but I don't think it's going to reach the level of the animated show, because anime, you have a lot of advantages. Every single, like if it's hand drawn, every single thing that you show on screen, you want it to show on screen. So you have complete control over the picture. You have complete control over the audio. You have complete control over the acting. You have complete control over everything. When it comes to live action stuff, actors, you kind of depend on the lighting on the scene. You depend on there's way too many wild cards. So generally speaking, live action adaptations don't stand up to par with animated adaptations, because you, like I said, you can't control all that stuff.
That being said, out of all the live action anime adaptations, that goes Ghost in the Shell, Death Note, Attack on Titan, whatever, Bebop could work. Because it has basically already been done again in different ways. It's Firefly. It's a combination of Firefly and Blade Runner and old spaghetti westerns and old film noirs. It's different genres that just were thrown together into a blender, and for some reason it worked out beautifully. So I think it, out of, like, if you do it, they're making an Evangelion adaptation live action.
No.
So between the Bebop and Ava, they're gonna fuck it up.
No, what Pacific Rim was basically an adaptation of.
No, it wasn't. It had none of the themes of Ava, none of the philosophy, none of the.
No, but I'm talking like the.
It's
overall...
robots. Yeah, it's robots fighting big things.
Yeah.
That's not what Ava
and the way
is.
All right, fine, whatever.
Ava's a character story.
True.
But Bebop could work. Do you think they would do just a shot-for-shot remake of a few episodes? Would that work?
I really hope they don't, because what's the point? It's the same. Hey, listen, dude, I keep telling this to people about the new Lion King. The new Lion King sucked, and it's because it's the exact same movie, only worse. So why would I want to watch the exact same thing, only worse? Change it up enough in a way that you need to change it up enough so that it's interesting, but you have to keep the core of the story there. You have to keep the heart of the story there. So you need somebody that understands that and respects it. For starters, I don't really know. I need to see a trailer. I need to see something to see if it has the same feel. But if you're just going to go for a shot-to-shot remake, you're not going to beat the animated version. You just can't. At least in my experience, I haven't seen something that's able to do it in a shot-for-shot remake.
I mean, I don't like shot-for-shot remakes of things within their same medium. So, for example, the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho with Vince Vaughn.
Okay. Why would I watch the same movie but worse? Dude,
what's the point? Literally, what's the point?
Dude, to me, that really annoys me, because I'm like, the fucking arrogance. Like, they made of remakes. They made a remake. I understand making a remake of a bad movie that had a good idea. It's like, all right, okay, we could do something better with better technology to work a little bit better. Fine. Like, if you want to make a remake of Battlefield Earth, okay. Let's see what you can do with it, because it was a shitty movie, maybe with better effects or whatever.
Maybe they would put the camera straight this time.
Oh, thank God, please. But making a remake of fucking Ben-Hur. Like, the movie, there's 3 movies that are tied for 11 Academy Awards, and I'm going to remake one of them. Go fuck yourself. The fucking arrogance of these motherfuckers.
Wasn't Psycho, like, Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Also, again, the arrogance. Yeah, it's the fucking arrogance. And so, with Bebop,
that's why
technically it's a different medium, but it's widely considered the greatest anime of all time. At least in the
West.
Yeah.
It's actually not as popular in Japan, ironically.
Well, because it's got more Western themes.
That, and it was... first, it was a little bit censored in Japan.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Which is odd. It usually happens the other way around. And also, this was one of the first anime to be featured in Toonami here in the West. So it was a lot of people's first exposure to anime that's anime.
Mm-hmm.
And... that's why it has a lot of nostalgia here in the West. And one medium that I'm just shocked that Bebop has not been more relevant in is video games.
Right? It's perfectly set up for it.
Yeah, like shooters or adventure games or whatnot.
Dude, imagine kind of like did you ever play Star Wars Bounty Hunter?
Sure, yeah.
It could work there, or like a Mass Effect style game. No.
Not Mass Effect, but... I mean, maybe a funnier Mass Effect. Because
yeah.
there is a lot of comedy
Yeah.
with the show, and I think the genius of the way the show handles like the mood is through the music, and it's transitions. So you can go from like a full on comedy scene, and you just have a few transitions with a twangy blues guitar and a little bit of jazz, and it sort of settles you down, and then you just go into a super serious scene where a guy's like talking about his past and finding his ex-girlfriend who left him for another man or whatever.
The thing that it has to have is you got to have multiple dialogue options. So if it's going to be like a video game thing, because it's got to kind of be like a detective thing too. At least I think I enjoy that. Anyway, but the chat's saying that maybe a remake of Waterworld. I like Waterworld.
I like the show they have in is it Universal?
I think it's Universal Studios.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I like that one.
Yeah, but honestly, Waterworld reminds me a lot of like the second Mad Max.
Is Waterworld where what's his name?
Kevin Costner?
Yeah, is that when Kevin Costner drinks his piss?
I don't know if he drinks his piss.
I think he drinks his piss.
I think that might be Dances with Wolves.
Kevin Costner drinks his piss a lot. Huh?
I mean, I don't know. Point is,
I don't know the man.
Yeah, I mean, like not personally. Point is, and this is the most important thing: remakes are stupid. Adaptations are okay. Like reboots, fine, whatever. Adaptations are okay. The Cowboy Bebop live action show looks like it's going to be an adaptation. So, as long as they keep the core of the show. Fine, they keep the car of the show, and they just show, the beauty of Bebop is they can just show a bunch of different adventures. They don't have to follow a particular plot.
There's actually a movie that takes place between I think episode 22 and 23,
which is a long adventure, just a long episode.
And we didn't get to watch it, but it is basically that, just an adventure of the Bebop crew dealing with something on a planet.
Yeah,
you can just do that.
So if they do that. That's great. And just slightly hint at the bigger story overall. Okay, that's fine. So it could work. I'm not saying it's going to suck. And I'll probably say
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'll probably say that if a show could work, it would be Bebop is a good option. I'm just saying that historically speaking, it has not worked out well. I
would have thought Death Note was going to be a slam dunk.
Right?
It just seems so easy.
But again, the issue here is that they did not understand what the fans liked about the story, because they did not understand the core of the story. They did not understand the core of the characters. They did not understand the most interesting thing about it. They did not understand that it was a game of cat and mouse, and that's what people liked. And so with Cowboy Bebop, what would you say is the heart of Cowboy Bebop? At the heart, the most important thing.
It's the crew and the adventures, the lovable scoundrels who are always down on their luck and always trying to make a buck.
The ragtag crew of outsiders, of weirdos.
Mm-hmm. Who all, they're always quarreling with one another, but they still, care for each other, obviously. That sort of relationship. That's the heart of the show.
Yeah.
With some twangy blues guitars in the background.
Yeah. So, if they can do that in a Firefly-esque setting, it could work. I'm just saying, historically speaking, it hasn't really worked out. So, what do we have? We had another character here that we haven't really mentioned.
Yeah, so this is Julia. That's probably the main crux of Spike's backstory.
Yeah.
So, do we want to go into spoilers for the most?
Okay, so are we going to talk about the ending? Because Cowboy Bebop is wildly debated in its ending. And I mean wildly debated.
It's interesting, and I would need to talk about spoilers.
Okay, so up to this point, we're gonna say this. I highly recommend this show. It's very enjoyable. It's an adventure of the week. Like I said, it's a mixture of a bunch of different genres that you don't think should work together, but they do.
There's an episode entirely dedicated as an homage to Alien.
Yes. So
and The Thing, it's literally a sci-fi horror episode. Completely irrelevant to the rest of the story, but it's just that's what they do.
The characters are lovable. The cast is amazing. The music is fantastic visually. It's a fun show to watch, and it was made with a lot of love. So I highly, highly, Highly recommend it. And I also highly recommend it if you have not watched it, you stop right now because we are about to go into spoiler territory because we're going to talk about the ending. And spoiling the ending could be a terrible thing because it's an amazing ending.
It is. Ooh, that is.
What were you going to say?
One of the best endings, probably, right?
Yes. So start in 5 seconds. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Okay.
Bang.
Bang. You've been warned. All right. So talking about the end of the show, talk about Julia.
Okay. We basically need to talk about the entirety of Spike's backstory, right? So
No, not the entirety.
I mean, okay. Spike used to work for the crime syndicate back in the day.
And Vicious used to be his homie.
Vicious used to be like, I don't know if his underling or like just his friend.
His homie.
And we get shown different flashbacks, just images throughout the whole show about Julia and this blonde lady who's apparently... Okay, I had to read this up on Wikipedia because I didn't understand it. Because you saw that in one of the stills, it was Vicious and Julia in bed.
Uh-huh.
So to me, it's like, oh, okay, so did Julia cheat on Spike? Or what's going on here?
Uh-huh.
And then Spike was all sad.
Uh-huh.
Spike is a sad boy.
Ah, shucks.
Darn.
Damn it.
I got
tootin'.
Cucked by a guy named Vicious.
God damn it.
But no, okay, turns out Julia was Vicious's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
During the syndicate days. And she ended up falling in love with Spike.
Yes.
And
which is by far the more interesting story.
Yeah. And Vicious didn't like this.
Can you imagine being Vicious and getting getting
Dude, would you be surprised by getting cucked by a guy like Spike?
No, but I mean,
that's
like,
Mr. Steal Your Girl right there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, your name Vicious, like, I'm a scary dude. No, nobody's gonna mess with me, and then bam, Spike out of nowhere.
Damn bastard. Also, this is just a little separate. I love the name Spike because it reminds me of the dog from the Rugrats.
Of course. Of course.
But either way. So, yeah, she falls in love with Spike and they have like an affair. And Spike is all like, yo, let's like leave this place. Let's leave the life of crime and, run away together. Let's leave.
Run away.
Vicious catches wind of this plot.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you try to leave the syndicate, they kill you. That's penalty of death.
Since when?
Since, Spike's days.
Okay, yeah, cool. That's fair.
And so Vicious catches wind of this, and he goes to Julia, and he's like, "Yo, I either kill both of you, or you go and kill Spike." And then she's all like, "Oh no, I can't kill Spike. I love him." But she leaves. I love him. He's
so
way, beautiful.
You know what? I just remembered something.
What?
We forgot to use the OTAKO Tuesday Open.
You forgot.
I forgot to use the OTAKO Tuesday Open.
Well, it's not like it took us forever to make.
Hey, fuck you. It took me a little bit. It took me like 2 hours, 3. And then you kept wanting to change stuff.
I was being sarcastic because I'm the one who got all the audio stuff for it.
Yeah, and I did all the visual stuff for it.
So what are you complaining about?
That I had to do all the visual stuff.
And I did all the audio stuff. Took me a bunch of time too.
And so in total, it was like 6 hours because it was like 3 hours for me and 3 hours for you.
So we're both angry at you.
You know what? Let me. You talk about Julia. I'm gonna set up a scene here where I can put in the thing.
Oh my god. Fair enough. So yeah, Julia is all like, "Yo, I love Spike, so I can't kill him." But then she agrees. What are you doing?
Like I said, I'm setting up a scene where I can put in the open. You keep talking. Just keep talking.
All right, I'm talking.
Listen, dude.
I'm trying to tell the story here. You left it on Vicious.
How the hell?
That guy's ugly. He's
how-
got a scar.
How the hell am I interrupting you? Just
There's
keep
a guy
going.
with tits in this show.
It's really weird. There's a giant man with an afro. It's weird. Anyway,
I love that episode.
That's when the dog's introduced.
Dude, they also have like an episode dedicated to like old blaxploitation films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
They don't give a rip. Anyway, so keep going. Just keep going. You're doing good. You're gonna do it, buddy.
Yeah. Basically everything goes wrong, and Spike gets into like this big shootout with the syndicate, and they leave him for dead. And then Julia never shows up where they were gonna meet.
That bitch.
And she goes on the run, and then Spike goes on the run, and basically the whole story is I would say the biggest theme of the show is your past catching up to you.
Okay, I think I got it. You want me to try to put it in?
All right, let's do the thing.
So get ready. This is the official open for Taco Tuesday. Hopefully it works. Hold on to your butts.
NANI? Taco Tuesday.
It worked.
Masterpiece.
It worked.
I love it.
Yes.
I hope it had audio.
Yeah, I saw the levels.
Okay.
If not, let's do it again so you can see the levels. Ready?
Hit it.
3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
NANI? Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw the levels. Anyway, can keep going.
It's a great open.
Right? It's very quick, very straight to the point.
Snappy, you know, it lets you know what we're all about.
Exactly. There you go.
Anyway.
Lizards and tacos.
Yeah. So it's all about your past catching up to you,
Yes.
and this is a theme with pretty much all of the 4 main characters.
Yes. Bros before hoes.
Yeah, and most specifically Spike's story. Like he's always said, like,
Well, like Eric mentioned before, the past is a very relevant theme for every single character here, but the main character is Spike, and so the one that has to deal with the biggest thing there is Spike.
yes.
So-
So that's his past with the Syndicate and Julia and all that. So the whole show where we hear about this Julia. What's up with you, Julia?
Mm-hmm.
But we never actually see her until episode 25.
In fact, for 24 episodes, you kind of think she's dead.
You don't know what's up with her, yeah.
Yeah, I assumed she was dead.
No, I didn't, because there's there's different types of episodes. There's character development episodes, I would say, where they just deal with a specific character and their backstory. So, for example, there's an episode where it's all about Jet and him going back and confronting his old girlfriend who left him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, developing his character, but it's basically just a Jet episode.
Yeah.
There's the Blaxploitation episode where it's basically just an Ed episode.
Yeah.
There's like focused episodes. Then there's the ones that is just an adventure and it's all silly and there's all the characters doing their thing. And then there's the plot related episodes, the ones that are overarching.
And they're
whole thing?
the Spike episodes, basically.
Basically, although Faye and Jet do get pretty involved in them.
Yes, but the story is Spike's story.
Yeah. And there's one in like halfway through the show where we see that Vicious is, doing shenanigans.
Plotting something.
Yeah, he runs into Spike and he's all like, "Hey, I saw Julia recently or something." And he's all like, "You bastard."
How dare you?
Yeah,
How dare you bring her up?
Yeah, and so that's what made me think I figured Julia's not dead.
I never got that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's move on to the ending here. What's the next image? Do you know? What?
Just a stock, I think.
Stock
or not?
No, stop it. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the ending. Like I said, wildly considered, or at least in the conversation, of one of the greatest endings of all time. And I mean in all mediums. And also,
It's a 2-parter.
very debatable, because a lot of people debate what the hell happens in the end. And that's always fun. It's a fun conversation to have. But also kind of confusing for some people. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, but why? What the hell just happened? So I think we can break it down, right?
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just the actual ending where people debate it.
Well,
and
people-
it is designed to be debated because even the creator went like, whatever you think happened, that's what happened.
No, but people don't get the eye thing.
Okay, sure.
So can you simplify that? Because you just recently watched. The way that I remember it is that Spike throughout the show has this thing about his eye. They reconstructed his eye. It's not his real eye because he had an
accident.
He had an accident and he lost an eye. And so there's always talk about his eye. And so the big thing about his eye is that he's seeing himself in different timelines. So
His eyes, one of his eyes sees the past.
one of his eyes is seeing the past, one of his eyes is seeing what he thinks is the present. So it's never exactly clear if Spike died or not, and what he's seeing and the audience is seeing is kind of like a post-mortem death, or if he's just kind of like in the trauma of still living in the past, or he always has an eye in the past, and literally
That is
and
a thing. Spike has never been able to let go of his past.
yeah. So
And that becomes very clear once the character of Julia finally comes into the story in episode 25 in last 2 episodes, Real World Blues Part 1 and 2.
yeah, and this is something that torments the character because he is not really sure if he's alive or not. He's not sure which timeline he's actually living in. And so you could argue about there's maybe a philosophical argument there. Maybe the author's trying to say something about letting go of your past and stuff like that. But
Spike definitely doesn't.
No.
Because he just hears the name Julia and he's like, gotta go over there.
Gotta get.
This,
Anyway.
cutie blondie, he just can't let go.
So the eye thing, I get it. It's confusing. It's meant to be confusing. It's meant to kind of like give you a headache, and the way that I understood it is, yeah, you're kind of supposed to try to understand Spike's position and like how imagine feeling that way. Like, man, one of your eyes is seeing one thing and the other eye is seeing another thing, and one of the things that you're seeing is your own death. So,
You're supposed to feel more like Faye in the scene where Spike is explaining the eye stuff to her. Because she doesn't get it either.
Yeah, it's just like, listen, I think I get it, but I don't get it.
But you so weird.
Yeah, like
it's so cool.
Like, no, like imagine seriously right now. Imagine like half of your vision, you're not sure if it's actually there. So if things are happening simultaneously, what do you react to? So Spike is picking his reality in a way, but he's not really sure if it's real or not. Imagine like being half in a dream or half in a coma. It's meant to make your head hurt a little bit. You try to sympathize, but you don't empathize because you can't really understand it.
You can't understand being that cool.
Yeah. And, well, that leads to the big ending, the massive ending. We're not going to lead to... Basically, because of Julia, there's a situation where there's a Spike... there's a face-off between Spike and Vicious.
I mean, it's simple. Vicious manages to take over, like, the syndicate, crime syndicate, and becomes, like, the head honcho. And then he's chasing after the people who used to be part of the syndicate, who is Julia and Spike. And so Julia asks, she's in danger and runs into Faye because Faye's in one of her fits where she decides to leave, and she runs into Julia in trouble.
I took their money again and I left.
Yeah, and then Julia's all like, "Hey, I know you. Send this message to Spike and tell him that we're supposed to meet up in the place where he said." And Faye's like, How do you know that I know Spike? But that never gets answered.
No.
That's weird.
You just assume that Julia knows.
Yeah.
She's one of those chicks.
Yeah. And Spike is all like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go meet with my hot ex blonde girlfriend."
Listen, Faye, I like blondes. I'm sorry.
Sigh. And during this whole debacle,
dude, but you're going way too long. Basically, there's a face-off between Vicious and Spike for reasons.
I mean, we're already there. Julia gets shot and fucking dies, and then Spike gets into the building, and then he gets shot. He goes, fights Vicious. They have a good old samurai showdown at the end
with guns.
I did like the detail where they were both like, Vicious uses a sword because of course he does.
Of course.
But for some reason he can fight a guy with a gun, no problem.
I mean, like, if I'll save it.
Yeah. And they do this thing where, like, Spike has his sword and Vicious has Spike's gun. And they just sort of, like, trade it one another and do, like, the final, like, Hey-ya!
Mm-hmm.
Then we get the final result.
The final moments. And again, this is the most important part. So, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Show literally goes off with a bang.
Yes. And that is with our boy Spike laying down after the fight, victorious, after laying down in some stairs, smoking a cigarette.
I don't think he's smoking.
Isn't he smoking?
No.
Does he light it or does he put it in his mouth?
No.
Well, the point is, he's laying down, injured after the fight, and then the show ends.
Basically, he and Vicious he shot Vicious and killed him, but Vicious got like a really good cut on him. Plus, he had already been shot before.
Yeah. So the show is never clear in whether or not our boy, our hero, the coolest dude ever, survives or not.
Neither is the director.
Yes. And honestly, that's the way it should be. Because I hate it when Inception answered that question.
Did it?
Yeah, the director said.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. And so...
What was it?
I'm not going to tell you. It'll ruin it for you.
I'm going to read it anyways.
We'll go and read it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to do that. And so it's an amazing moment because you're like, is there going to be more? What's happening? Is there an answer? And so for a really long time, you kind of don't fucking know. And so you start going into the internet and you try to explore like, what the fuck did just happen? What the fuck's the ending? What the fuck's the meaning? Basically, and we've already said it, it's for you to interpret. So you start adding up all the stuff. And one of the big questions is, was he even alive to begin with? Was it all the death of a fantasy? Did his both eyes finally meet at the same time? Did he survive? Did he not survive? It's honestly, it's an amazing way to end the show because I want to know, but I don't feel like I need it.
No, it's a total Western ending.
Yes.
Where it's
like kind of open.
And even the last few episodes, even though a lot of them are not connected per se, they do sort of start talking about Spike's mortality in particular and like his eventual fate. So even like the
it's kind of like
in
a way the Sopranos kind of took a little bit from this.
Yeah, in the first part of the last two episodes, Spike and Jet have a conversation on the Bebop about pretty much what it is, what they think Spike's fate is gonna be, and they talk about the past. And what was Jet's line? Jet had an awesome line. Well, Jet has a really great line in the show where he says, "Women don't work on reason."
Ah, man, the philosopher Jet.
Yeah.
Master Jet.
But he says something about the past and people who look to the past only when they're about to die because it makes them think that that's what makes them sure that they were ever alive in the first place.
Which is a great tie-in to Spike's eye. So it sparked a lot of debates. Thank you for reminding me of that one. There's been a lot of debate. I've had this debate several times. I did it more before when I first watched the show, and it's fantastic. Like I said, it's a fantastic way to end a fantastic show.
Very somber.
Yes, it sucks because in a way Spike kind of broke the relationships that he had in order to get this done, but you also understand him because it's like, dude, if you're not really sure if you're alive or not, you kind of just want to make sure for sure, you know? So
that's the line he gives to Faye, where he says, like, I'm not going there to die. I'm going there to make sure that I'm alive at all.
Yes. So there's a lot of philosophy in the show. It's very well handled. It doesn't give you all the answers, but it gives you enough clues for you to make up your own conclusion. And like the director said, whatever you think happened. And so,
which usually is a cop out, but it works here.
It works because either way, I don't feel like I got cheated. I felt satisfied. I'm happy if it ended there. I'm happy if it continued. It was tragic. It's tragic in one way, but it's cathartic. So I considered one of the greatest endings of all time.
My only problem is that right before the last two episodes, Ed leaves the show.
Yeah.
And I understand why. Ed does not work with the tone that they were going for the last two episodes, which was shit's going down. This is serious film noir.
Grown up stuff.
This is where
the metal meets the meat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shit's going down. You think people are going to start dying. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So Ed doesn't work there. Ed doesn't ever have like a serious moment.
Okay.
So they did a thing in the previous episode where Ed finally meets her dad, mm-hmm. and so she decides to leave with him.
Okay, so overall, you just watched the whole thing for the first time ever. Where would you
in a row? Yeah.
How do you feel about people calling this the greatest anime of all time? Or from beginning to end, from soup to nuts. How do you feel? Do you think, first off, is it worthy of being in the debate?
Worthy, yeah.
Okay. What other anime would you say would be a contender there for Bebop? Because Bebop's the whole package.
It is. I guess its weakest point is the story in terms of
Continuity.
telling a one continuous story, but that's also its strength because it's more of an adventure of the week kind of thing with something gradually building.
It's a very, 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 very slow burn, even for a Western, even for a film noir.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah,
I like slow burns, especially when they have such an amazing payoff at the end.
exactly.
But the best ever? I don't know. I don't even know how you would determine the best ever.
Gut feeling.
Gut feeling, if somebody told me they thought Bebop was the best ever, I would not look down on them. Like, if somebody tells me I think Dragon Ball Z is the best game ever, the best anime ever, okay, to me that just tells me you haven't seen a lot of anime.
There's nothing wrong with Dragon Ball Z.
Nothing wrong with it.
Like,
It's just it's
Okay, no, okay. I took offense because I mentioned that was my favorite one, and it's because I understand it's not the best. I just love it.
yeah.
Okay, so I took offense, but it was my bad. It was my bad.
I love
Oh,
Dragon Ball Z too.
Dude, okay, so they're mentioning there right now in the chat Gungrave. So Gungrave would be on par.
I haven't
And
seen Gungrave.
I have it right there. And so
Have you seen it?
No.
So what the fuck?
Wait. Here's the thing. I saw Trigun because the dudes who made Gungrave made Trigun, but they made Trigun first, and they said that Gungrave is just Trigun with more money and better overall, but different story. So I was like, okay, I need to watch Trigun first. So now so actually him saying that, Chuck, thank you for saying that. Now I'm super excited for Gungrave if it's worthy of duking it out with Cowboy Bebop. Like now I'm pumped. Because you who've watched a lot of anime could not think of a contender off the top of your head. And somebody did, and I have it right there. So now I'm pumped for it.
Oh, I can think of contenders. It's just, to me, the best anime thing. It's just kind of silly because it's, it depends on the genre. It depends on the movies count. Like, do you count remakes or stuff?
We should make a Mount Rushmore of greatest animes of all time,
But
objectively.
No, if we're going greatest, then you have to include more popularity, not quality. So that way you would have a Goku up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Also, you wouldn't have any Ghibli because they don't really have a particular mascot. Also, do you have a Pikachu up there? Because Pokemon is huge, but it's not necessarily huge as an anime.
the best shonen would be Dragon Ball Z?
It's
The most iconic.
That's a different thing.
I know, but that's why I said like Mount Rushmore the greatest. Iconic is iconic. Does that mean the same as greatest?
So we've talked about like Mount Rushmore of like wrestling,
And which
and
one?
we've said like
and,
Hulk Hogan has to be there, but
and-
Hulk Hogan's not the best wrestler,
and
by far not.
and are we going to use male Ranma or female Ranma? I don't know.
Hard to say.
It's very difficult. Actually, I'm kidding. It would be female Ranma all day. Damn.
What was he first?
He was a boy.
He was a dude. Yeah.
He's a dude. He gets cursed that whenever cold water falls on him, he turns into a girl, and hot water turns him back into a boy. It's hysterical. Anyway.
Hilarity ensues.
Oh, of course. It's massive hijinks. It was actually, I was talking with a buddy of mine, and he was like, hey, what show should I show my kid? I was like, what's a good place to start? And I'm like, dude, well, he's a kid. Give him Pokemon, Digimon stuff. Like, yeah, I want to give him like more older stuff. I'm like, give him Ranma 1/2. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not showing that to my kid. I'm like, why not? We watched it when we were kids.
Yeah,
Like,
kid-
he's 3. It's like, oh.
Whatever. Kids are not very smart. You mentioned Hellsing, not the original. The remake maybe is one of my favorites, but I don't know if it would be in the top of the tippity top.
There's stuff that could actually eventually beat it. Like, but no, because it holds a special place in history, and so
And especially in like Western anime culture history.
yeah, it's inspired so many things, and like I said, after you watch it, you start noticing stuff. They're like, was that a Bebop? Like, to me, the biggest thing, the thing where my jaw dropped was when I saw it, and afterwards, like fucking Firefly.
Dude, there are fight scenes in anime that have scene for scene copied fight scenes from Bebop, they're gonna say it's an homage.
I was gonna say the homage,
but fuck you, you're just copying something you know worked.
exactly, because it was good. But anyway, I think that's a good place to start. So overall, recommended, definitely a must watch. It's a
Mount Rushmore of anime is not enough for like a 5-minute discussion.
It was good for our worst. Did we say it was yellow or was it white?
It's a white.
Yeah. Do you want to? Well, we said that in the stream, but if you want to say what the colors mean.
Yeah. So the colors are more for us. Because we started organizing the way we're gonna do these shows.
Yeah, OTAKO Tuesday, how it's gonna work, and
we're gonna separate it into 4 different categories. There's the blue category.
Well, let's start off with the white one, which is what we're doing today.
All right, the white is classic shows.
Yes.
So Cowboy Bebop, I guess Gungrave would be in there because it's probably 90s.
Maybe early 2000s, but yeah, sure. Trigun definitely is there.
Yeah, if we talk about I don't know. Evangelion. That would be
the Dragon Ball C's.
I would put it before 2000s, but I'm willing to go early 2000s because those early 2000 animes have
Gundam.
Depends on the Gundam.
Well, I mean the original Gundam.
You want to watch the original fucking Gundam?
All right, fine, no, but yeah, okay, Evangelions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
stuff from the 80s.
The original Digimon, I would put it in there too. So there you go. That's the classics.
Yeah, those are gonna be the white episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the blue episodes, which would be the next one.
Yep.
Which is basically stuff that is meant.
Shonen.
Yeah, stuff.
Or blue, boy.
Stuff that is meant to appeal for boys.
Boys.
So we would also count like pervy shows like High School of the Dead.
Hell's fucking yeah, High School of the Dead.
Yeah. Shows that are clearly made for a male demographic, and so this would be mostly shonen anime, which is where we did
maybe a harem too. I don't know. High School DxD will be in there. Who knows?
Which would be what we did.
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, a shonen. Then there's the black episodes, which we consider this like drama and
like more realistic stuff.
Universal appeal.
Yeah, which was
I would say Bebop falls under black in terms of universal appeal. Like I would show Bebop to my parents.
Yeah,
or to anybody who says I don't watch anime.
Well,
I would show.
Well, the thing about the classics episode is that it's going to be white and another color because they fall into the other genre.
It happens with all of them. It's gonna be like, if it's a shonen anime with romance, like is it gonna be the other one?
Purple?
Pink?
No. Anyway, so the point is, with the white ones, it will lean into another direction in anyway. So yeah, it would be black would be like more serious stuff.
Yeah, just not something that's not like specific for boys or specific for girls. It's just universal appeal.
Yeah.
And then there's the pink episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like my teen romantic comedy Snafu that just makes us giggle like little girls.
How does it make you go?
As you go, ah! Oh my god! Those types of shows.
Exactly. So that's we're gonna be mixing those up.
We're gonna probably put most of the like rom-coms and whatnot in there.
Yeah, rom-coms are fun.
I think K-On! Would probably be a pink episode.
K-On!
Probably, right?
K-On!
I mean, of course it has universal appeal and it's a classic.
This one I'm like, K-On! It's also for boys.
But I literally have a Blu-ray up there where it has a pink thing on it. All right. I'll show it on the stream.
Okay, show it on the stream because Eric is very proud of this. He's very proud that he has the live concert of the band.
Yep.
The actual voice actresses made a concert and they performed everything. He's very proud of this. It's probably his most prized possession of all time.
It's my most expensive Blu-ray.
So how would you classify K-On! I don't know, we've had a whole debate about this.
K-On's gonna be pink.
Yeah, and so we're gonna be switching out the genres and stuff like that, so you can look forward to that. And I think that's it. That's good for today.
Yeah, it's basically boys, boys, neutral, girls, classic.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. So, as always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World, streaming on YouTube and on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 8-ish, kind of. If you want to join us, you want to join the chat, Chuck, thank you for joining us. You said a lot of stuff there at the end.
Yu Yu Hakusho is an excellent anime, definitely a classic. What? He wrote it.
Okay, I was like, what? Okay, that's
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay, and Eric, where can they find you?
You can find me over on twitch.tv/DickieSenpai and also on Instagram, same username. And I guess over at your channel for the Pokemon randomizers.
Oh, yeah. On Saturday, we're going to be doing... actually, Eric, during the week on my YouTube channel, he's going to be loading this. But if you want to join... he's going to be loading... What is it? Did we do 3? So we did Mount Moon, we did the Nugget Bridge, and we did Misty. So it's going to be 3 episodes.
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to be loading them throughout the week. And if you want to join us live when we do that... Like I said, this one's a hard watch because we were suffering. We were suffering.
You might enjoy our suffering.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people do. I've noticed that. So if you want to check those out, like I said, they'll be loaded on our YouTube channel. But if you want to join us live, that's Twitch only, buddy. That's Twitch only. And so there you go. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.
See you later, Space Cowboy.